share that he will introduce himself for those of you that don't know him, a wonderful colleague we've been working with for several years now. And I'm really excited because the project that Marcos is going to be talking about is a little bit different than some of the other stuff that we hear, and some of the other stuff that he himself is working on. But this is a project on using GIS to prepare for potential dams-related disasters. And I'm sure he'll give us some background on what that looks like, but it's actually a pretty serious issue that many of us might not hear about unless we're near affected areas. So I'll turn it over to Marcos. Make sure that you can share your screen. That's under this tool. So I showed you that first. Back in the Zoom.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much. I will share my screen. Okay, so this is a preliminary study with just a not finished paper, and I will just discuss some results and some possibilities that we can think together, and just show about the method we are using in this project. The project is called Applying Geographic Artificial Intelligence to Identify Populations at Risk for Tailing Dam-Related Disaster and Prepare Local Disaster Management Plans. So regarding tailing dams, we have a big problem in all the world, especially in Brazil, related to dam break, and thousands of lives were lost related to some disasters related to dam break. And every year, this issue come again. For example, the first image is a television news of the last Friday talking about this topic. And here they said more than 100 tailing dams in Brazil has risk to break anytime. And we have big accident in Brazil too, especially in Mariana and another in Brumadinho 6 years ago. And beyond the people who died in that accident, we have contamination of the ecosystem and deforestation and destroying of the building, the city, and a lot of problematic related to dam breaks. We have some projects in the world that try to monitor disasters around the world, but related to dam breaks, we have few informations around the world. This map is based on a world database related to dam failures in the last 100 years. And we can see in all the world we have accidents related to dam. And the US, Brazil, Africa, Europe, everywhere we have very serious tailing dams failure. And the number is increasing over the years. And here we can see the number of accident, very serious failures, and we can see the number of very serious accidents is increasing across the years. especially in Brazil, this map show where located all the dams, and here in this map is classified according to the potential damage related to dam break. In pink, we have a high potential damage related uh, to this dam, and we have a medium damage and a low damage in blue. And here is other kind of classification related to the security of the dams. And we have in pink, we don't see a lot here, but it's hidden in this part. We have a high risk of rupture risk uh, of the dam. Here is a zoom of that region in a state we call Minas Gerais. It's a Brazilian state close to São Paulo, and we can see a high concentrate of a lot of tailing dams. And here we can see in pink the high risk of a rupture dams. So the objective of this study is to identify the population who is living close to near of the dams and who are at risk for dam failure in Brazil, and to create a strategy plan for mitigation the environmental disaster. We use secondary data, and we have a lot of database that we can use, database related to health facility information, about the population, about the mobility, about the rivers, about the geolocation of the dams, about the infectious disease prevalence in each region, about the immunization coverage, about the geological data, and the digital elevation data. Specifically about the population, we use a method from WorldPop software that could estimate the population using a metric estimation based on high resolution satellite images. So they use satellite images with high resolution and can see the density of the people, of the population living in specific areas. Here, for example, we have a high concentration in an area, in a low concentration in another place. The big advantage is because we can see the distribution of the population in a specific region. The people who live more in a place than other place, and we can see where the people live. And we studied 3 types of solution to know what is the impact of dam break. The first solution is using the ANM. ANM is the National Agency of Mineral in Brazil that have all the information of the dams. They have projected flooded area. So where is the possibility to inundation area if a dam break? They have this information. It's publicly available, easy to reproduce, but they don't. They are not clear which method or model they use it to estimate that area, that flooded area. And the second solution is we take a dam and we create a catchment area around the dam, and we can predict the population inside that catchment area. Maybe we could overestimate the population that could be affected. And the third solution is the best one. We can create it or estimate it flooded area. The advantage is more precision, but this is a sophisticated method is very expensive and require how can I say, someone who could estimate this. This is a very specific method to do. Some hydrologists to estimate this. So we'll focus here the first solution. At the ANM information, we have information like geolocation, data about the structure, like the volume, like the weight, and the risk classification of each dam in Brazil. This is a picture from a satellite image that we could take from the ANM website, and we see here is a dam, and we have other construction around this. And at the last weeks, the NMM website had update, and now they show the flooded estimated area. So here in the point green and yellow point, we have dams, and here in red we have the estimated area that could be flooded or inundated in case of a dam rupture. In red, we have the first wave of impact, and in yellow, we have the second wave of impact. This is very interesting. This is a dynamic and interactive website, and we can see here, I don't know if you can see, it's a city. We have people living here, and we can see if any of these dams had a rupture, we will affect the people who live in here. This is the same website, and we can see more information here, like the level of security, the number of dams is here, 919, and about a half of this number has information about the security. And here is some results. These results, as I said, this is a preliminary study and is a not finished paper. But here I estimated only for this state, Minas Gerais, the Brazilian state, only for this I created the flooded area. And here in blue, this is a zoom in a part of the Minas Gerais. And in blue, like a river, is where will be the flooded area in case of downgrade. And the low image, we have information about the population distribution in yellow and red. In red, I have more concentrate of people, and in yellow, low concentrate. But we have people too. This is a zoom showing the located of the dams structure. In red, we have population living around the dams. In blue, like a river, we have the flooded area. In case of any of this dam had a rupture, here will be under water. And here I have people living in this area. What I did, I created this raster file of the population from the world map, and I created points. Each point represents a concentration of people, and I can count the number of the people in each point. After this, I created a way just to, I click the population only inside the flooded area. And here in points, in the orange point, yellow, and red points, I have the people living inside the flooded area. Here, in all the flooded area have people living. And we could see also the impacted in the environmental ecosystem, like vegetation, like forest, like this. For example, we have a native forest here, and the flooded area will impact it also. So after count the number of the people, only in Minas Gerais, we have more than about 60,000 people living around the dams, only in Minas Gerais. This is not for all Brazil. This is very serious because the people who are living very close a problem. And as I said, every year is increasing the preoccupation about the rupture of the dams. As we represent here in this image, we have a dam and here a city. If this has a rupture, it will affect all the people living here, loss of lives, and change all the ecosystem of this region. So the next steps is calculate the population living in that areas, the mobility of the people to create routes to escape of this area, the impact of health resources. What is the most close hospital of the people? Where the people need to go? How many beds we need to attend the people in case of a disaster? Is to medication and create a contingency plan to better support this population. And after this, of course, we will impact in public policies and scientific reports to highlight this problem. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marcos.
All right, anyone with questions or comments for Marcos and the team?
I'm biased to say anything because I love this project. Yeah.
You're not alone. Marcos, that's incredibly important, incredibly cool with all those maps and that data. And I think really sets a stage for us to think about how to have resilient communities in the setting of potential disasters caused by climate change. So really amazing work. What I get from what's done so far is that you've identified areas of at-risk populations. What do you think is the next step?
The area is estimated by the National Agency of Minerals from Brazil, and they have calculated that area. We try a lot to do our own estimated, but this is very difficult, very, very difficult. It's a more precise method, and we don't domain this. So we are working using the public resource or more easily method to do. And sorry, I forget the question.
Well, it's important to highlight that we are not that concerned with this part of the modeling Marcos is saying. That is environmental modeling. We have to leverage what is available. We want to partner with folks that do that kind of modeling to get the best models of exposure. But what we are really interested in is the forward model. So once you have the event and you can identify a target area of impact, we want to build plans on how to mitigate that going forward. And ideally what we want to do is making those plans more implementable so they can reach policymakers and be a preparedness platform. It's less important that it's as accurate as possible at this point.
That was actually my question. I was curious about the plans for like policy impact or public facingness of it, or like how, I guess, like publicly accessible or dynamic, like the model will eventually be or could be.
Yeah.
In order to have like maximal impact.
I think that's where we want to grow the project into. There's different approaches to it. I think what we are trying to do is leveraging complex systems modeling, so dynamic systems modeling, and then make it very, very flexible, so that if you change some parameters, you will get different outputs of it. But that's gonna be the next part when we get some sufficient funding to build it.
It's a very cool project.
Yeah.
Other comments or questions? Any questions or doubts from your side that you want someone to comment on here, Marcos? Lots of kudos in the chat. Thanks so much for sharing.
Thank you so much.